All right, we're gonna get started here with Monica's D-Sides Final Goodbye by Spirialis. I'm gonna let them take it away. So,
Hey everyone, it's Spirialis here. I'll be playing 9D for you today. Can I just get a final confirmation that this file name's correct? Archiethon?
let me check. It appears so. That's what it rings up as.
Okay. I'm going to start by doing cheat mode in vanilla prologue, and my commentators can introduce themselves.
Sure. Hello, I'm a chocolate orange, aka Akko. Y'all have seen me a couple times here already. Data?
Hi, I'm Theta, aka Theta. You've seen me here once already.
Oh, I can't seem to hear.
You can't hear?
Yeah, I can't hear Theta either if Theta's speaking right now.
I am, but I was turned down, so I don't know if I was muted.
Well, I'll just get started with the level, and I'll leave it to you guys to figure out.
I'm pretty sure Theta was audible. It's just not for us, so we'll just keep going with it. So this is 9D. Is the last and longest level of Monika's D-Sides, also known as Final Goodbye. I guess I should mention that this is Celeste, a video game that is a precision platform based around a dash and a jump. If you've not seen it before, it's pretty precise, pretty entertaining, and it has a lot of cool speed tech and movement. Okay, enough of that bit.
I'm okay, there we go. Messed up that trick a few times.
Yeah, I was just stalling to cover. You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
And thank you to everyone who donated for the incentive.
Oh yeah.
We're going to be doing a Moonberry run here.
And I saw that.
I'm so
Do we
glad.
know who donated that, or was that just anonymous? I didn't actually get the details.
We had
of
an
that
anonymous $500 donation.
Well, thank you, whoever you are.
Also, I see some people in chat asking, would you like to explain what 9D actually is? Because a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, this is well, Akko was explaining that this is the final level of Monika's D-Sides pack. And while the other levels are called things like Chapter 1 D-Side, Chapter 2 D-Side, this one's actually just called Final Goodbye. So everyone just calls it or Chapter 9 D-Side, or 9D for short anyway. But Final Goodbye is technically the name of the level. So that's what we have on stream, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And the level is a very long gauntlet of challenging levels, or challenging rooms, I should say, ranging across pretty much the entirety of all the mechanics that Celeste has to offer. And it's sort of like, I don't know if I would say it's like a final goodbye of Monika's, but it's something like that.
Yeah, she did make more custom maps afterwards, but I believe this was intended to be the last thing that she was going to make for Celeste.
Celeste like the instrument? True, I actually really like the Celeste as an
I
instrument.
missed that key.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, by the way, I did commit to donating $1 for every death that I take in this run, including intentional deaths. So look forward to that.
I absolutely am. I will be preying on your downfall this entire time. It's
Yeah,
for charity after all.
Can you guys hear me or still no?
Yeah, we can go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I think that one of the most impressive things about 9D, I mean, first of all, it's my still my favorite Celeste custom map, like by a long shot. But I think one of the things that's so impressive about it is that, you know, there's so much custom content for Celeste these days, but the D-sides are like super old. in comparison to most of the new stuff that's been coming out, and yet still this map has done some like truly inventive stuff that even custom maps that come out now, you know, I just feel like for its time it was just incredibly inventive, and it still holds up like really well compared to Celeste custom maps that come out today.
Yeah, absolutely, especially in terms of speedrunning. I feel like this is easily more speedrun friendly than any maps of comparable difficulty that I've seen.
Monika just has like a really cool approach to making hard Celeste content. Like it's not like what normal hard Celeste maps are these days. Like she stays kind of far away from tech and more towards like just kind of really inventive level design. Not to say that like, you know, hard tech maps are not inventive level design. Just it's a very different style of mapping compared to what a lot of Celeste custom maps are like.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, you know, the easy comparison to make is Kaizo. You know, Kaizo levels, I think, are. I would not be surprised if they were a direct inspiration for the way Monika does level design, and you know, both the good and bad that entails. And I think 9D is especially cool because after making these maps for so long, you know, she's learned a thing or two, and it really shows in this map.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also like really impressive how fast she made this level. I believe this was made within just like a few months of Vanilla Farewell being released.
And it's like 300 rooms, right? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but to my knowledge, this is still the longest single custom map that exists in Celeste.
Yeah, I believe that's true by like a long shot. I don't think there's any map that even has come close to the length of this.
Yeah, unless you count entire collabs.
Right, which don't really count.
Yeah, that's not fair comparison.
This is designed by one person. Another thing that's really cool about the D-sides is because of the time that these maps were made, and that's not the only reason, but that is a big reason. There's a lot of in custom maps you play these days, there's a lot of like new mechanics and programming and scripting and stuff that goes into it. But when Monika made these maps, like the focus, you know, really was on like using only the tools that were in Celeste. Like there was there's no custom stuff, you know, in the map. Now to clarify, like the version that Spirialis is playing is actually somewhat recently updated, and there is like a lot of new rooms and stuff in the map compared to the original version, but it's still mostly intact from how it was when it first came out. So.
Hold that in the screen.
Can I shout out a donation here?
Absolutely.
All right, so we have an unfortunate donation from Sleepy Dan, who donated $50 with the comment Marge Simpson, because I think they were looking for that as the name for Celeste. Unfortunately, it came in late, so...
Dang.
So
That's so unlucky.
something that Spirialis just did that I wanted to mention is this is a key hub that Spirialis just entered. He's in one of the rooms of the key hub right now, but he actually skipped the regular entrance to the key hub by doing like a kind of a rune transition skip and collecting a key from the hub early that allowed him to basically use a bubble to skip an entire room. Well, really sort of 2 rooms. And then the room that he just left, I mean, he's going so fast it's like even hard to keep up. There's a room at the bottom of this hub where you basically get 1 shot to get 2 keys from it, and if you die, because of the way that the room works, where it's based on key collection, teleporting you, you never get another chance to do that room. So
yeah, I'm very happy that went well.
Yeah, and
otherwise I'd have to figure out another 2 keys to get somewhere else in this level.
Yeah, and especially since he's doing Moonberry, getting keys is very important. He's gonna need a lot of keys. So you definitely don't want to die in that room, and then if you're doing any percent, it's kind of unfortunate too. Even though you don't need as many keys, like it's just it's a really fast way to get 2 keys, and if you mess it up, it's really unfortunate.
How many keys do you need for any percent again?
It's so hard to remember.
You're gonna make us count, huh?
Yeah.
use 3 in the first hub, use 4 here, and then use another 7 later in the third hub.
And so that exit that's to the left there that Spirialis didn't go through was the room that we skipped earlier by going through the weird room transition. And you're actually going to see that more than once in the key hubs in this map, where you can skip the room right before the entrance to the key hub by going through a weird transition. So you'll see that again pretty soon. So the early part of this map, before we get into some of the crazy stuff later, is really designed around like sort of trying to teach you some of the speed tech that is in Celeste, because none of the other D-sides require any tech. And by tech, for people who know Celeste, I mean like hypers and supers and things like that. And so the first few hubs of this map are actually trying to help you learn tech in Celeste. And that was kind of...
They couldn't explain those as the map taught them, but this went by so fast.
Yeah, you're just doing too well. I need to slow down.
Yeah, it's really hard to explain everything. There was a cool strat that I wanted to point out that Spirialis did a couple of rooms ago, where he used one of the keys that he already had to open a door with a key in front of it, and then he hypered through the key into the transition into the next room, and then instantly retried. Doing that strat saves you time, because if you hyper with, or if you collect the key without going through the transition, you get put in a bubble and sent back to the beginning of the room. But if you hyper through the transition, you can make it to the next room just fine. But the bubble will still try and take you back, which causes you to soft lock, I believe, if you don't do that retry.
Yeah, and Everest does have like a soft lock prevention where it'll just kill you, but you get frozen for like several seconds. So it's important to instantly kill yourself in the next room, even though it looks really funny. And it costs Spirialis money.
I haven't been keeping count. I wonder what it's going to be at.
So this is like the infamous, what do they call it? There's a name for that room.
Trailer room?
Preview room? Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah.
That room is really tough when you don't have like, you know, insane muscle memory. Spirialis is of course going to make a lot of these really tough rooms look really easy, but they are not. I think my first run of this map took me 113 hours, and by the time I got done speedrunning it, I was all the way down to 2 hours. So it's amazing how much like just playing the map and learning the rooms can help.
I should mention that Theta is the former world record of old 90.
That's true, yeah. I did at one point have world record.
So did I when I was the only one on the leaderboard.
Actually, Spirialis, I mean, so I should say, like, 90 is my favorite Celeste map, but I had no, like, intentions of running it. And it wasn't really until, like, watching Spirialis' run that I felt, like, inspired to even try. Because I think when Spirialis ran this, there was just really nobody else that was, like, willing to put in the effort to do this, because it's such a long and such a hard map.
I see a lot of people in chat writing their predictions. That was a
that
nice
is the
cycle.
hardest room, in my opinion, in the map, besides the last room, and for Spirialis to get that first try is insane.
I see a lot of people in chat writing their death predictions. I would love for y'all to donate those dollar amounts as your predictions. That would be a great idea. Alternatively, you know, if you're less financially inclined, maybe donate it as cents. You know, just a suggestion.
There you go. Or hundreds of dollars if you are financially inclined.
Or that.
So there's a lot of really interesting cloud tech in some of these rooms in the early part of the map. So what we saw in that last room was like clouds positioned right on top of spikes, where you basically have to jump as soon as you touch the cloud, or you'll die. And this is something that shows up pretty commonly nowadays, but this was like one of the things that I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Monika kind of pioneered the weird cloud stuff. There's also a really
This room
funny...
also had the first wind triggers. If you see like black dots in certain spots and you're wondering what those are just indicators for where wind is going to start or stop.
Yeah, and the indicators actually flow in the direction that the wind is going to go, and they flow in the same speed that the wind is supposed to push you. So, really interesting indicators. So now we have some invisible blocks, which are very cute. Oh yeah, and then this room, there's a lot of stuff that is supposed to appear in this room if you hit switches. And Spirialis is going to try to avoid hitting the switches so that the room is empty and much easier and much faster.
This might take a few tries. It does save 10 seconds if I get it first try, but...
It'll save 10 seconds no matter how many times it takes you.
Yeah.
It's okay, we want to see the swag strat, and also we want to see you fail it so that we get more dollars.
Yeah, so this room is supposed to just be completely full of like ice and fire blocks, but because he skipped the switch, there were none, and the room is much easier.
Because so technically rooms start in a neutral core state at first, right? If you don't hit any switches, something
that's
like that.
correct. Right. Yeah. And there's actually there's a super infamous room coming up called Core Room, although there's multiple core rooms, but it's kind of the infamous core room. And it used to be possible to do the same kind of deal where you skip all the switches and then none of the crazy lava will show up, and you'll see what I mean. But Monika added in a trigger where even if you skip all the switches, it still turns the lava on. I still can't believe you do that way. That is the scariest way to do, to do that.
Do you have a safer strat?
I mean, no, but I think it's safer than what Spirialis does. But
Just the casual strat.
So there's a lot of cool stuff happening here that we're not really mentioning. There's, like Theta said, it uses the level uses a lot of Celeste mechanics in really unique ways. It's something that is more common now, but one thing, for example, that you saw there is using the initial movement from the core block as part of the level rather than the boost of the core block.
So that was another instance where Spirialis skipped into a key hub early going through the top of the screen. Unfortunately, in this case, you can't grab the key because there's a bunch of spinners that just instantly kill you. But it still saves you having to do an entire room. And actually, in this case, unlike the previous case, the room you skip is extremely hard. So it's nice to be able to skip that. We have a secret room here to the right that Spirialis can take advantage of, and a very cool strat for skipping it. His first try.
This is the last one of the screen.
Yeah, so every single time Spirialis jumps out of these dream blocks, he has to do what's called a dream hyper, and I mean, you know, it's easy to do, but then when you're expected to do it rapidly over and over and over again in quick succession, it can be easy to yeah, so this is not my favorite room in the world.
So what was it? It was 4 + 3 + 7 keys for any percent?
Something like
I'm gonna
that.
have to call in my friend who's a math expert.
There's a couple of
the other day.
yeah, there's a couple of keys that that you can like get and then use right away in the any percent.
Shout out the fact that that room right there uses an intro car boost, which is not. I'm not sure if that's a well-known tech or not, but it is something that exists.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so when you land on the intro car, it kind of like moves up for a, you know, like a single pixel basically, and then when it moves up, if you can take advantage of that lift.
I was banned from Strawberry Jam.
So these rooms are supposed to teach you about bunny hops, which are these like kind of quick little speed hops that Spirialis is doing. And one thing that's kind of funny about these rooms that has mystified people for a long time, but I'm here to demystify, is that they have these bubbles that you see here with spinners inside of them that will kill you if you touch the bubbles. And they seem like they're just there to troll you, but they're actually there because these rooms are supposed to be tutorial rooms. And so if you play the room and you want to try it again, touch the bubbles to kill yourself, and you won't get a respawn trigger at the end of the room, so you can keep trying the rooms over and over again. It also allows you to go all the way back to the hub if you want more practice with those rooms.
Oh, so if you die to the bubble, does it always set your spawn back on the other side of the room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But people are like, oh, this bubble is just here to kill me because the map creator hates me, which is not true. That's not what they're there for.
We cannot make any claims on whether the map creator hates you or not. but they don't hate you for this specific reason. That's all we know.
I feel like I've spent enough time with Monika to say for sure that she doesn't hate you. Especially not
specifically,
you.
or
yeah, especially.
Oh.
I mean, I don't think she's above trolling you, but
This is another room that I think is extremely hard in the early part of the map. You know, it uses Oshiro in like a really inventive and clever way, but as soon as you make like a single mistake, it becomes really difficult to get back on the timing because every single one of these blocks is going to fall. So you know, if you mess up a single move, then the whole room is kind of off.
Hey, we just had another bid war open up. Can I talk about it real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So we just had a bid war open up for the Golf with Your Friends run that's coming up later. You get to choose the hat that you get to put on the golf balls. We got a lot of different options for what to actually put on the golf balls. Let me pull them up here just so I know what they are. You can choose a bow, a Santa hat, a double cheeseburger, a captain's hat, or a paper plane.
So this is the part of the map where bubble hypers and bubble supers are used, and Spirialis actually skips like a pretty big bubble hyper bubble super tutorial because he doesn't need the tutorial. But that room is actually really funny. Has some really great dialogue explaining how bubble hypers and supers work. And these dream blocks have bubbles inside of them, which is why some of the movement looks really weird. Okay, so this is the infamous core room. Spirialis is going to go on the top left here to skip a trigger that resets, that sets your dash inventory to like the way it works in core, where when you spend a dash, you don't get it back. It really doesn't make this room that much easier overall. It's still a really hard room. And here's the lava that just appears, even if you don't hit any switches.
all right, first try. We'll just see
Nice.
that.
Nice. You can clap for that.
Yeah, that room
for
took me 8 hours.
You only get one chance, because when you die, you respawn on top of the trigger that you're trying to avoid.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you only get one shot at the inventory trigger skip. And yeah, that room is like infamously a huge blocker for people who are trying to play the map.
And that spring on the spinner falls down on its own. Fun one.
Yeah, so these dream blocks disappearing when you use them is still not technically custom. It was something that the dream blocks could do, but was never used in the vanilla game. So.
There's a couple other things like that in this level, right?
Yeah. She also used like the golden blocks that already existed in the vanilla game, but weren't previously used.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think anyone has seen those legitimately yet.
Well,
the new version of the map, she implemented golden checkpoints instead of like one golden berry for the whole map, and so lots of people have been collecting the golden berries for the checkpoints.
I was not aware of that. That seems like a really cool concept.
in fact, you see a lot of them like right here.
Yeah, there was a golden that he just ran right by. So now we're getting into bitrate checkpoint. It's gonna get darker and darker the further he goes until it gets dark enough that even Spirialis won't be able to see. But I think people watching the stream will not be able to see probably sooner than that, depending on the quality. So even though it's unfortunate that these rooms start to get dark, because these rooms are actually really clever. There's a lot of like very cool stamina puzzles in these rooms. This one in particular is actually one of my favorites. Where like execution wise it's not too bad, but figuring out how to get through that room when you don't know what to do is actually very hard. And that's something I love. Another thing I love about this map is that there are a lot of rooms that are not hard because of the execution, but rather like the puzzle layer.
Yeah, and that one's actually interesting because even though it's like super hard to figure out how to do it in 4 climb jumps, you can actually do it in 3 without resorting to weird stuff like spike corner jumps.
So, a fun thing about this level is that it is, as advertised, It does not require any demos, technically.
That's true.
But of course, we're going fast, and if we want to go fast, there are a few places where demos are useful.
Fast
I would
and
say
safe.
that's one of them. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's no required demos. There's actually a couple spots in the map where it looks like you have to do a demo, and there's actually a hidden way to get around them. So there are like spots where people will say, nope, there's a required demo here, and then you go and you say, oh, well, there's actually a route that completely avoids it. But it's just
I respect that so heavily because it's just like it's just
If
like
you know, you
so
know,
in
right?
your face about it, you know? And I love that.
I love that it's like when the more that you play the map, the more you learn these like cool secrets and stuff, and it you just feel like you're like part of like, you know, the cool kids club with 9D where you're like, oh, I actually know all the secrets. There's lots of like hidden dash crystals and lots of alternative strats that maybe don't look intended that definitely are intended. So now Spirialis is gonna save and quit here because we get into the fun part of the darkness checkpoint where we actually have these sliding bars that are gonna completely block the screen. And by saving and quitting, it resets the cycles.
Yeah, these are global cycles, and the ones in this first screen in particular take 20 seconds to fully cycle, so being able to reset those with a save and quit is very nice. Normally that kind of thing is not allowed in custom map speedruns, but the moderators did make an exception in this case.
Because it was so significant.
Yeah, and because with the level being so long, you'd like to be able to take breaks, but saving
Right.
quitting anywhere theoretically manipulates the cycles, so you want that to be an option.
Jade, if you'd like to say something, I feel like now would be a great time.
Oh, yeah. So we actually have the E9 run incentive still open, but we have another one with that run. You can actually donate money, and we have the incentive actually on the screen right now that says "Meet the French axolotl." That's right. If you donate enough money, we can actually see an axolotl in the East 9 run later. So.
Yeah, Spirialis here is going to be on commentary for that, I believe, and I'm decently familiar with that game as well. Y'all want to see that axolotl. It's simply entertainment.
So there's another like really inventive use of the double dash crystals where by dashing to collect them, it's required to beat that room. If you collect it and then try to spend your dashes after, it won't be possible to get to the end.
Welcome in, Raiders. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks so much, Parakash.
And now we get to the part of the run where we don't get to see anymore. So each of these rooms, there's going to be some instructions from a narrator telling you how to get through the rooms. Of course, Spirialis doesn't need that. So he's just going to skip all the dialogue and he's just going to play these rooms blind. And then there is a room where you get some live dialogue and Spirialis is just going to straight up ignore it and do his own thing, which I find extremely terrifying as somebody who never did that, was never brave enough to do.
While he's doing that, I seem to have gotten a little confused and lost here. Jade, do you know what event I'm at? I'm not sure.
Yeah, so if you're just stopping in here, we're doing Archiethon. This is the 4th Archiethon. Every year we get together and raise money. Specifically this year we're raising money for the Trans Empowerment Project, which is a organization that helps transgender people. If you want to learn more about that, you can use !TEP in chat, or you can go to transempowerment.org.
Thank you so much. I feel a lot more confident, and we're of course running 9D right now. And I don't know if anyone in Parrot Dash's community is familiar with the level.
Yes, the screen looks so glad we can see the gameplay.
Well, no worries, we're out of that section now, so.
Yeah, and we get Bloom in return. We get our eyesight back doubled.
And we surely will never ever have our vision blocked again for the rest of the map.
Surely.
Oops, this is not a match.
+1, +1. Can I get a +1 in chat, please? Or even a -1 if we're doing it from Spirialis' perspective.
This is one of my favorite rooms. This room right here, you have to use the binoculars to reset the lava because it's not possible to get through the room in one lava cycle because the lava just keeps rising and there's no way to flip the switch. So you use this bino to reset it, and you're supposed to go down there, grab those blocks, go back up, and hit the bino 3 times. But there's a strat for going under and doing it in one cycle, which is cool. Now we get to see some cool feather bubble movement. Unfortunately, we're going to skip that entire room pretty much and just grab the feather. But you can actually just bounce off those feather bubbles to get dashes. And that was sort of the intended strat, but we're just going to steal a feather and go all the way to the exit.
That's Evan's fight for that strat.
This is another room that haunts me every time I go to bed at night. The end of this room is so hard, and I die on it so much, and Spirialis just makes it look like a joke.
Maybe you should try invert grab.
Yeah, I should try invert grab. Yeah, that might help.
For those who don't know, Spirialis relatively recently, in terms of the length of his Celeste career, changed his control scheme. He's a keyboard player on invert grab now, which works out pretty well for farewell base level like this, because there are some interesting keybinds you can do with jellies for back boost, for example. But prior to that, you played on like a PS4 controller, right?
Yeah.
I think that the invert grab stuff helps more with more current custom maps than it does with this map, but maybe Spirialis goes differently. Because there's not a lot of like jelly back boosting and stuff in this map like there is in a lot of current
I mean, there's quite a few spots where you can use it. It's not really expected ever, but
yeah, it's value for the run, not so much value for the casual.
Right.
I feel like the more you do throwables maps, the more useful it is. If you're just doing 80%, then not so much, because the only throwable there is Theo, and you don't really have a lot of chances to back boost him.
Yeah, I mean, throwables in general invert like the on-off state of grab, I guess. And being able to have a throw bind is something that is nice of having invert grab.
Something that's nice to be able to combine with a lot of other things in the same button.
So I should just say that now that we're past like sort of the key hubs part, we're into Summit. Once you get past the darkness checkpoint, Monika stuck the entire Summit into 9D. So we're going to see all the parts of the Summit, including some parts of the Summit that we don't normally see. And in a lot of these areas of the Summit, she hid keys. And because Spirialis is saying Moonberry, he's going to need a bundle of keys. So
has anybody been keeping count? How many keys total have we gotten?
Well, he has 5 now. I don't know how many he got.
I mean, so I was told recently that you need 4 + 3 + 7 keys for any percent. So how many of those have we gotten past?
All of those. There's actually another 2 later on in any percent that wasn't in that tally, I guess.
Okay. So then...
Yeah, so usually when you're playing any percent at this point, a lot of the keys you're going to see Spirialis get, you don't need. Basically, like almost every single key that he's getting, you don't need anymore. But because he's doing Moonberry, a lot of them. Not all of them.
And for Moonberry, you might be surprised by how many keys I'm actually skipping right now. There's a reason for that. There's a trick I'll be doing.
Yeah, he's doing an extremely difficult trick that I don't know. Very funny.
Jade, if you have something you'd like to say, I feel like now would be an okay opportunity.
I don't really have much new. We still have the bid war that is open for the choosing a hat in Golf with Your Friends, the run that's coming up in a while after this. I don't know if it's not the next run, but it's the run after the next run. In which the bid war, you get to choose the hat the golf balls wear during the run. There are a variety of different golf balls you can choose. You can choose the bow hat, the Santa hat, the double cheeseburger hat, the captain hat, or the paper plane hat. Yeah. Also, we do have the French axolotl incentive that is currently listed on screen. We meet that incentive, we'll be able to meet the French axolotl in the Yeast 9 run. So start donating for that.
While you were saying that, there was a cool entry strat that Spirialis was doing that we unfortunately missed, but essentially you can carry speed from. So obviously this section has a lot of zip movers or traffic blocks or whatever you want to call them, and you can carry speed through a transition with one of those and then get a nice ultra off of it.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of, especially later in the run, there's a lot of intended strats that require you to carry speed from previous rooms to get huge skips. Some of the last checkpoints of this run, there's like a huge emphasis on speed strats to get through really fast, and they were all kind of added in the most recent update to make some of the last checkpoint stuff like really fun for speedrunners.
It's very reminiscent of base game. What is the name? There's no way. I just forgot the name of the second to last checkpoint.
Spirialis, is this the one that you don't retry on? No, I didn't.
Yeah, I retry here.
There's one that you don't retry.
Someone tell me what the name of the checkpoint I'm forgetting is.
Reconciliation?
Yes. How? How did I forget? Am I washed?
So
I got owned. It's fine.
That's hilarious. So one of the things that, and it's already happened earlier in the map, but it happened in the map room as well, that's super cool, is with those disappearing dream blocks. Usually when you dream hyper out of a dream block, people who play Celeste, you always dream hyper forward. But since those dream blocks disappear, you can actually dream hyper backwards out of them. Also in this room, you're supposed to carry double dash all the way through that room with all the wiggling dream blocks. But there's a nice little lineup where you can use a demo to skip having to do that, and it makes that room much faster and much easier. Very cool speed strat there.
Plus one?
Yeah, okay.
Let's go.
Plus two.
Oh, now you're just doing that to spite us. That was slower.
Oh, now I'm pressing this up a lot.
Another spot where you can use a reverse dream hyper. So in this room, we have these battling orbs, and usually you would collect them all. One thing that's kind of unique about this room that you don't usually see in Vanilla Celeste is that Monika uses different sets of battling orbs, and so you can skip some of them, and it actually makes the end of this room faster if you don't grab them all, because usually you get thrown by several battling orbs at the top, and by skipping, I think it's 2 sets of them, you don't have to spend as much time in the freeze frames for the throw animation. That being said, it does make the end of the room scarier, in my opinion.
Yeah, just one kind of precise up dash there.
Yeah, so that spot at the end there usually be like a lot more battling orbs, and it goes a lot slower. But it's...
By the way, if anyone was wondering, those light year amounts are in fact the accurate length in meters to the given checkpoint.
Yeah, as in same amount in the vanilla game, like 500 meters. Now I'm in 1500 meters.
And we will get to 1 light year in the appropriate amount of time.
Hopefully in less time than it takes light.
Yeah. So you saw at the beginning of this room, and you'll see it a ton, and Spirialis alluded to it earlier in the run, but there's a lot of intended retries, because a lot of the rooms have respawn triggers that are much further into the room than the start of the room is. And so for speed, there's a lot of just walk into a room, instantly kill yourself, to get some extra distance for free. And that's the best part about doing money for death incentive on 9D, is that there are tons and tons of those intended features.
This one wasn't for distance, but for the cycle.
Right.
As you saw, it worked out really nicely there. Do you know how many intended deaths there are in Spirialis?
I do
able
not.
to estimate?
I think there's like 40 that
Wow.
I don't know about Spirialis, but for me there was like 40. And then I was
Everyone
averaging
say-
350 deaths per run, so 40 of those usually.
Everyone say thank you, Monika, for getting an extra $40 worth of charity.
Whoops. I messed it up, but there is a hidden path here that...
Wow.
it
I've
should-
never seen that ever.
You really don't want to give to charity, do you? Huh?
I don't think I've
That
ever
was a
used
sick
it as a
save.
backup, but it's there and I use it, yeah.
I love this map so much. The fact that you can still find new stuff.
I don't know why it's there, but I appreciate it in this instance.
That's so good.
Just keeps on giving. -1. You can't say -1, that's a mess. Now everyone's doing it, oh my god.
You were the one that suggested it up.
I wanted the plus ones.
This is that spot you got stuck in practice.
This is one of those screens that's always fine in practice and then just causes problems in runs. There we go.
Well, if you got stuck in practice, then it'll be fine today, right?
The end of this room is very spooky. This next room here. We also have like a kind of like a mid. I should point out that these rooms here are weird like intermediate summit, intermediate between like 2 parts of summit, which is something that you don't see in vanilla Celeste. So we kind of have like a mixture of 1500 and 2K happening here, which is interesting. Yeah, so if you don't know what to do here, this ending can be really scary.
Oh, was that a ceiling pop that didn't kill me? That was weird. Thanks, wind, I guess. Alright, well, we didn't die.
Alright, so now we're into 2K proper. Lots of cool strats for these rooms. We're not going to have too many issues with wind. In fact, wind's going to help us skip lots of stuff. I think this is one of my favorite rooms in the checkpoint. And I don't know if it was there in the original, but Spirialis is going to do a hilarious shortcut that I've never seen before.
Mess it up.
Oh, is that a corner boost because the block is moving out of your way?
Not intentionally.
Oh. Oh, so that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
It's all good, +1.
There's lots of really cool usage of these moving blocks in these screens in this checkpoint. Again, just like some stuff that I haven't really seen in too many other maps. There's also a really funny skip here where you can do a reverse wave dash off of that block even though there's spinners sticking out of it just because of the size of your feet.
Have we seen feathers yet?
Yes.
In this section, do you use analog for them?
No, nothing in this section, not until 3K.
Also, the end of that previous room is hilarious. He kind of blows by it, but the whole block at the end also falls, so you think that you're safe, and then the entire end of the map just disappears. And all you have to do is go through the room transition, but if you're not ready for it, it'd be a really funny way to die.
I actually have no idea what just happened there.
We have a really strange key room here.
Yeah, it's smaller than the normal minimum screen size.
Yeah, it's like half a screen, and also it uses really, really weird wall bounces that are right up against an exposed edge of the screen, which kind of... The interaction between Madeline and the edge of it, like an exposed screen, is very strange, and you don't see it a lot.
It's like, it's essentially the same as it's a wall in terms of it stops you, but you cannot interact with it at all, right?
Right. So when you wall bounce up against it, you basically just shoot straight up into the air, because obviously you can't go left and you can't go right, so it just looks really strange. It feels really strange. That's the bigger thing. When you play it, it just like feels those moves feel really weird.
Spirialis, if you had to think of what in your opinion is the worst cycle room in this map, is there a room that comes to mind?
If you count this is one of the ones I'm scared of. Like, this is another one that's always bad in runs, but fine in practice.
Yeah, this room is really funny because everything syncs up to these snowballs if you don't fast bubble, and you kind of move really like judiciously, like the way that you dash, and you don't want to go too fast. For me, I think of the cycle room that Spirialis first tried earlier, which is still, in my opinion, the second.
Yeah, that one's pretty rough too.
And also, like, we didn't really get to like spend much time on it because he was going so fast, but his strat at the end of that room is extremely cursed. Like, it's so fast, but it's also like I would never be brave enough.
That bubble respawn almost owned you.
Alright, out of that screen.
There we go.
Let's go.
This is a cool room. You kind of have to keep up with this moving block, and then you use it in a very cool way at the end of the screen here. Oh, that was close.
Oh my goodness. You're gonna give me a heart attack here.
So this is another room that's like, if you make it this far into the map, this can be a major blocker for people playing the map casually. This room is very long and very difficult. And there's a really funny section at the end that if you do it casually is just like a really terrifying section where there's like a lot of ways to save yourself, but obviously when you're under a huge amount of pressure, it's very difficult to save yourself.
I mean, it's worth saying, obviously, Spirialis is trying to go fast and doing a very good job of it, of course. But a lot of these strats, honestly, in my opinion, are significantly more consistent than what is intended.
Yeah, it just
I don't see
depends on the
having
room.
strats at all.
Yeah, that's something that I never really, figured out was having strats. That would have helped me a lot with running this map.
Oh, okay, I messed that up.
But you ran out of stamina when you got there.
Yeah. I conserve enough stamina to get to that crystal before I started flashing red from low stamina, which helps conserve a dash. But...
So these bubbles that have the pink particles on them are there to tell you that there's a double dash refill hidden behind the bubbles. You can't see them otherwise. And that room, even though it's very easy when you know what to do, is kind of an interesting coding puzzle.
Right.
This is another one of my favorite rooms. I think this is a great checkpoint. I love 2500 meters a lot, and this is one of the rooms that I love the most. It's just like super long, and you kind of escort this block all the way to the end, and it's just...
As a speedrunner, this room sucks because it's an auto-scroller.
I hope I fulfilled my role. You see Spirialis pause buffering there because that strat is a tiny bit tight. What he's doing is activating the crumble block and then trying to get back down around to the bubble after touching that coin in time to make it past the crumble block before it respawns. And that basically saves a cycle, if you will, of the crumble block.
Yeah, so right now, Spirialis is in a group of rooms that are shaped like a circle, basically. And when you're playing this map casually, unfortunately, Spirialis is going to spoil it, but it's very hard to figure out how to get out of the circle. And you will just go around and around and around and feel like you're losing your mind. Because the way to break yourself out of the loop is somewhat hidden.
Spoilers.
There it is. So Spirialis is gonna...
Just a spoiler warning, 50 minutes into the run.
Yep.
Yeah. So Spirialis very carefully broke the exit on the top of that room before retrying, so that he didn't have to go back down and into the loop again. Because if you don't do that, then when you get the key, you're just kind of forced to go back down and all the way around again. Another really great long room. I love this room a lot. It just feels really fun to play, really satisfying to get to the end of. And of course, he's gonna pause web for this demo to skip a little bit of gameplay. And now we have this. That's all I can say to describe it.
He's asking something has changed.
Was what changed? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
If I had to guess, it was something around what you were talking about with the bubble exiting the loop.
Oh no, that was in the original version. This is fine. At least the Seeker didn't just sit there with his face right against the barrier like he does.
Like a kid in an aquarium.
So this is another mechanic that I don't think anybody had seen before the B-sides, where she kind of locks these Seekers into the barriers that prevent them from moving, and uses them as like platforming objects, and it just feels really cool. Like they're really wacky. This is another. Yeah, that's true. This is another like notorious blocker for people. This room is really long, but it has been nerfed. There's a checkpoint right up here that didn't used to exist. So right where that gate was, there's a checkpoint now. You used to have to do all the stuff before that without a checkpoint. And the room is not even remotely close to over, so to give you some sense of having that extra checkpoint, how nice that would be.
The diagonal under the door in the first part is a demo, right?
Diagonal demo, right?
Yeah, I do a diagonal demo there.
Yeah, that's 1.4.
So there's two exits at the top here, and Spirialis collected like a hidden button to take the secret exit, because not only does it skip a flag here, now that we're in the flags part of Summit, but it also gives you a key. Oh, saved.
-1.
-1.
So sad.
Our key train is getting really impressive.
Key train, that's the guy that did giant steps, right?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, I'm just being stupid.
And we're not even close to getting all the keys. There's quite a bit more.
Chat's getting a really good math workout with this run. We got -1s, we got +1s, we've got summit flags, and now we also have keys.
Yeah, so now that we're in the summit flag section, you know, there's 75 flags, and the good news is that when we get to the last flag, the map is definitely over.
True. I'm pretty sure that's how Celeste maps work. I've played Celeste maps before, and that's how it worked. So, God, if y'all are using your math brains this much, you should do some math. Subtract some money from your bank account and add it to the total you see at the bottom of your screen. How about that?
Exactly. We are here today to support trans empowerment project. If you want to support them, you can do !donate in chat to donate. And if you want, you can put your donations towards some of the incentives that we currently have going on, such as the French axolotl and the burger hats. I mean, the golf ball hats. One of them, which is a burger hat. I'm a little bit biased, so.
So Spirialis just took a secret route from flag 63 to flag 62, which is hilarious because that flag is extremely hard. But Monika added in, hopefully in the update, and has not always been there, or else I'll be very sad. Just a little secret exit that skips the entire flag.
It might have always been there.
Knowing
I'm not
Monika,
sure.
I'm sure that it could have been, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that.
These are the flags on this screen is the first time that I switched to controller, just to have analog for these wind feathers.
Yeah, as we all know, feathers on anything that isn't analog in this game, a bit whack. And Spirialis is very practiced on controller despite being a keyboard player now, so it's not the hardest thing for him to swap back for these. Shoutouts to Nero.
I do still get tripped up quite a bit by invert grab on controller though.
Because of your muscle memory.
And in that bubble I switched back to keyboard.
Seamless.
This next flag, flag 54, is really funny because, well, you'll see whenever he gets there.
Before I get there. That's right.
Yeah, so that platform, as soon as you collect the flag, disappears. It doesn't matter because you still get the checkpoint, but it's hilarious when you finally get to that flag and you know, take a deep breath and then you just fall to your death. Oh, nice.
Sometimes the flags don't activate because
yeah, you got the spike jump thing. Yeah. This is such a cool room. It shows off that wall bounces are really strange in this video game. You can wall bounce off of very weird corners. It's totally fine. That spring section right there used to have spikes on one side instead of springs on both sides, so you had to do a bunch of spring cancels there, and it was terrifying, and I kind of miss it. Alright, so now we're to everybody's favorite part of Summit, the core part.
Yeah, particularly everyone's favorite part of Summit section of Farewell.
Right.
The core in Summit in Farewell, my favorite. You know what else is my favorite? Giving money to charity. Hey Jade, do you have any money for charity?
No, but I can tell you where you can go send the money to charity. You can send it using !donate in chat. We are donating to Trans Empowerment Project, which is a non-profit organization dedicated to empowering trans community through advocacy, action, and resource building. If you want to donate, you can use, again, !donate in chat, and if you want to learn more, you can go to their website at transempowerment.org.
So this is a section of the map where we're gonna get a lot of intentional retries because we have core inventory here, so your dashes don't refresh, and so a lot of times it's better when you collect a flag for cycles and for your inventory to just retry. And also, Spirialis skipped a core trigger to switch to ice, so that part of the that section would be a little easier when the conveyors were on, and also it prevents you having to go back and grab another switch.
Shout out to Uni for that strat. Uni was the one who found that.
We do actually have a donation here, if you don't mind me reading it. Alright. We have a $27 donation from Simplex that comments math. Because there is a lot of math in this map here.
So here, Spirialis is going to skip all these touch switches, and you don't need them to beat this flag, but if you don't get them, then you don't get the next flag. You can see the flag is hidden behind this block here. So he has to do this flag first try as well.
Oh.
And he's magic. And he's going for it again. One thing I should point out is that if you do get all the touch switches, it is like permanent. So even if you collected all the touch switches and then didn't make it to the flag, it stay down. So you don't have to collect the touch switches again, which is nice. But he's just gonna YOLO it. So.
Yeah, I mean, at this point I don't even have strats for doing it the other way, so.
That's actually a flag that was heavily changed in the update. It used to be extremely difficult flag.
I've seen that apparently Tom T. Tulu, aka Tulu054558, is matching the death donations. So,
Okay.
so y'all doing these +1s need to turn them into +2s. Spirialis, if you're willing to part with more of your money, you can make Tom part with some of his too.
One thing I want to ask about, because I know some people might not know, at the end of this section you were climbing on lava. Would you mind explaining what was going on there? Because I thought lava killed you.
Yeah, so you're not actually colliding with the lava, which is the reason why the lava kills you. You're up against a surface that you can still climb, and as long as you don't move right, then you're fine. There's like a way more technical explanation for it, but it's probably not getting too deep into. It's really fun to when I do that room. You know, I'm not clever like Spirialis, so I don't have like good strats. I just neutral up the lava all the way to the top, and it's really cursed because when you neutral
up the lava.
Yeah. When you neutral, you don't have the safety of the climb jumps. So when you're climb jumping, you don't have to move left or right, so you're safe. There's a little piece of wall right here that you can grab, and as long as you grab that wall, then you can just climb jumping straight up.
There we go.
There we go. Nice. But yeah, I mean the lava is still treated as a solid. It just happens to be a solid that kills you when you collide with it. So you can still do climb jumps and you can still neutral off of it as long as you don't actually collide with it. And there's a couple of pixels away from the surface that you're still allowed to do climb jumps and neutrals. And so you take advantage of those extra pixels to prevent the death.
And then you can, correct me if I'm wrong, but because wall bounces have more leniency than wall jumps, you have a couple extra pixels when doing that on lava as well, right?
That's right.
Climb jumps and neutrals are pixel perfect on lava, but for wall bounces you get three pixels.
So I should point out there that Spirialis did an intentional retry that kind of made him look like he teleported into another room. It's just because there's a huge distance between the respawn trigger and where you actually respawn.
Yeah, there's surprisingly checkpoint, even though there's no flag at that particular spot. I think it's just because the music changes right there, and they don't want to have the music change back and forth every time you die.
Yeah, it's nice to have a secret checkpoint every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have been fair for there to have been more than 75 flags, right? Surely there's not a repeated number somewhere that actually makes it come out to more than 75.
There's actually 2 of them when we passed one already.
Wait, really? I thought there was only one.
There are a couple of repeated flags, yeah. But they don't count because they're the same number. So.
Last flag of ice skip and the first flag of the next screen have the same number. I don't know what number that is.
Incredible.
This is a really cool room. These floating conveyors are only usable when there's a block against them. So these moving auto-scroller blocks allow you to take advantage of the conveyors, and then they bite you here with the ice walls. But one thing that's really weird is if you're holding grab, or in Spirialis' case, not holding the grab, then you get the boost as if you were holding the block, even though you can't hold the block. And so it makes that section a lot easier than it would be if you didn't hold grab.
I think the correct terminology is not holding ungrab.
There we go. That's right.
I think the invert grab should change the bind menu to say ungrab instead of grab.
Yeah. I think that usage of the ice walls with those moving blocks to create basically dynamic ice walls is super sick and like inventive use of vanilla mechanics to create a non-vanilla interaction.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're coming up on a really hilarious room. Unfortunately, Spirialis is going to skip a significant section of it. It's not going to be as fun as it would be if you didn't do the skip, but there's this room here with a ton of bubbles, and if you do it the intended way, you have to bubble so fast to get through that room, but because you can just go under the bottom, if you're just fast enough, then it makes that room actually not require as much speed. Makes it less funny, but also safer and faster.
For the feathers in that prior room, was that on keyboard?
Yes. I used to do that one on controller, but I decided to just go ahead and learn that on keyboard.
Also, speaking of lava wall dances.
Yeah, so there are some intended lava wall bounces in this map, but they have setups. Now, whether or not you can figure those setups out is not the mapper's problem.
Skill issue, as they say.
And that's one of the things that I love about Monika's level design is that she loves to create strats that have perfect setups, but the setups are extremely obscure. And when you figure them out, it's so satisfying. There's tons of rooms that Spirialis blew through in the early checkpoints that take a lot of advantage of like weird setups. So the reason he wraps around there is because there's actually a key hidden there. When you do that one screen wrap around through the hole in the lightning, or the electricity rather.
Also, multiple of those floating blocks with the rails have spikes hidden behind the rails. It's very fun.
That's true. Yeah, so now we got into cassette blocks. This is probably my kryptonite. This checkpoint, or this series of checkpoints, is really, really difficult. One of the things that I neglected to mention about the summit part of 9D is that prior to the darkness checkpoint, the difficulty kind of steadily climbs, and there are definitely some rooms where the difficulty peaks. But when you hit summit, past the darkness checkpoint, the difficulty goes way down, and you get kind of a nice break. And if you're playing casually, that break lasts for several hours. For Spirialis, it doesn't last very long. But this is we're really getting into the part where the lower difficulty is not present anymore. These checkpoints are extremely hard. Pretty much, there is a couple more lulls in the difficulty, but we are really kind of seeing some of the hardest stuff. So. And this is the section of the map that introduces corner boosts. And she tiles the corners with those little, I don't know what they're called, like rubble, to let you know that you're supposed to corner boost off of them. There's a nice little spot you can stand down there. Makes the beginning of that room a lot easier.
I think that texture is supposed to be the moon surface.
There you go.
Oh, you're supposed to keep your double dash here and smuggle it through this entire room, but screw that, said Spirialis, going to the end of the room anyway.
Yeah, and fun fact, I never knew that that was the intended mechanic for this room, so I always just did it. Not exactly the way Spirialis did it, but I never knew you were supposed to smuggle, and that room always felt weird to me.
And now we have a friend. Do we have a name for this friend?
His friend's name is Richard.
Richard. Hello, Richard. I wonder if Richard's in chat. Anyway, this is Richard, and we're gonna get to know Richard very intimately over the next
Or so we hope.
minutes.
So we hope, yeah.
That is the goal.
Yeah,
You know,
so-
sometimes it doesn't always work out, but you always gotta shoot your shot, right?
That's right. So Spirialis gets to hold on to this jelly and make all of these rooms, which are very hard, a lot easier. But there's the caveat that if you die, then you lose the jelly forever. So you can take it through this entire checkpoint and the entire next checkpoint. But as soon as you die, then you're back to casual strats. Or not really casual strats, I should say, but rather just you don't get to skip the rooms anymore. And this section here over to the right was added in the update. There didn't used to be a way to get the jelly up this high. So that would have been the last room that you could use the jelly, but now you can take it all the way through this entire next checkpoint as well.
Nice.
This is actually one of my favorite rooms, and it's kind of sad that Spirialis has the jelly because you don't get to see the intended strat. But that
You wanted to
room
make
uses
him play
the cassette boosts where you jump off of them as they are spawning behind you, and these rooms are just so cool. Like this is some of my favorite cassette block gameplay.
I mean, there's definitely still some fun cassette block boosts that we'll see in this checkpoint, right?
Depends on if Spirialis dies with the jelly or not.
We're fine here.
Oh!
You're fine. You can go under. Oh, you can go
All right.
I,
Well,
I think you might have been able to go under on the right, yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Everyone say bye, Richard.
That's
Bye,
okay
Richard.
because Spirialis managed to get Richard through probably the hardest rooms.
yeah.
The rest of the rooms are not so bad. And the last room, which is by far the hardest, there's no point in bringing the jelly through it anyway. Trust me, I tried, and it was torture. And it provides you no benefit. So this room is really cool. You have to collect that double dash, but the reason why there's such a small gap between the edge of the screen there is because if you accidentally grab the double dash and then go through the screen transition, you lose the double dash, and then you come back in this room and you have to get it again by going along the bottom of the screen.
There's also a very funny strat in that room that is definitely slow, where you can just sit inside one of the cassette blocks, and because cassette blocks move up and down a pixel as they spawn in and out, you can see it in the animation in these blocks here. They move up a frame before they, or not a frame, but a bit before they spawn, and move down a bit before they despawn. And so if you're standing in one, when it tries to spawn, it just continuously starts moving up. So you can use that to skip the double dash, but it's not fast.
It's the best strat for that room by far. You stand there for like several minutes, and the cassette block gets extremely tall. Yeah, so this is the last room of the checkpoint. Well, I guess technically the next room is the last room, but this is the last real gameplay room of the checkpoint, and we have some invisible blocks here. Luckily, Spirialis knows where they are. And this is the room where, you know, smuggling the jelly doesn't do you any favors, because if you take the jelly into this room, you can't use it anyway.
That room is one of the ones that I'm most scared of in the run, honestly. So glad that happened.
And in that last room, you used to be able to die after getting thrown by Battle Ant. I think it's been patched, but I'm not 100%
Yeah, pretty sure. Unless I'm experiencing a statistical anomaly in not dying.
It's only happened to me twice ever.
I think it was hilarious, and she should have kept it in.
It was like due to spinner cycles or something, right? Some weird curse
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, so like patching the level caused it to no longer happen?
I'm not sure how it was fixed, but it definitely wasn't in there like intentionally, and I'm not even sure that she knew how to take it out, to be honest. But I don't think it's in anymore, just based on changing the spinner layout.
Probably just moved some of the spinners slightly or something, is my guess.
So there's a lot of places in this level, especially in rooms with feathers in it, or you might have seen it earlier in the level as well, where going over the...
Yeah, this is important because Spirialis gets the double dash here, and then skips a trigger that resets your dash inventory back to single dash. And as long as you skip that trigger and a few more triggers, you get to keep the double dash for quite a long time. And it's super important that you don't lose it because there's a section very far from here called the Puzzle Hub where you can skip a significant portion of the puzzle by having this double dash inventory. So Spirialis is, knows where all those triggers are and is going to be sure to skip them.
Yeah. There are a lot of intended parts of the map where you can just go over the bounds of the screen, like north of
Move
it.
at the end of that screen. What's the skip one of those triggers that we're just talking about?
Yeah, there's a hidden inventory reset, and she designed it so that there's a way to get around it. Because this skip is absolutely unintentional. So she designed triggers such that you could avoid them, but obviously the triggers are invisible. So if you don't know where they are, then you might hit one by accident and then lose your inventory.
Right.
Back in that previous room was, I believe, the one wind trigger that is the wrong direction.
There's two of them, but yeah, one of them.
It's two.
It's another room casually that's extremely hard. You don't have like a good route. This is another place where we're gonna do a really funny Bino skip here, and it, I believe, also skips an inventory trigger. Is that right, Spirialis?
Yes.
So if you don't do that Bino clip, then you do get an inventory reset.
Interesting that there's actually 3 binocular uses in this run.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Yeah, we have to use binos in this, which is very unusual.
Required Bino usage? Any pure 100%?
I just want to point out that the battle end screens here are extremely hard, and Spirialis is really kicking butt on the screens. Like, this stuff is...
I mean, having the second dash is helpful, to be fair.
For sure.
Still extremely hard even with 2 dashes.
My favorite question mark screen coming up here.
The feather there at the end of that room is absolutely brutal, and double dash does not help you with that feather.
And this is on keyboard still, right?
Yes. Well,
There's actually a way to die at the end of this screen as well, and that is still...
See if it happens. Okay, it didn't happen.
That last star can come across and just end.
I do everything the way I intend to do it there, then I'm not worried about it, but I did fail to get the height right at the end, so I thought I might be getting owned there, but fortunately did not happen.
Yes, there's lots of new tile art happening here that isn't in the original map. So you get to see lots of really cool stuff happening consistently.
Oh, speaking of art, shoutouts to the music here. It's lovely original music. I think by the Gur 90.
The Gur, yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, the music is really good.
I'm messing up this demo so much.
Because you want to farm Tom's money.
That's right.
Yo, let me see some +2s.
Yeah, Spirialis insists on totally annihilating this room, which is an otherwise extremely cool and clever and well-designed room. Where you just repeatedly use this gigantic heaven over and over again to boost yourself up into the air.
Yeah, I think it's a really cute interaction. Hey, speaking of +2s, can I get some of y'all's +2s? Exclamation point donate.
this is another Bino clip here. Oh, never mind. I had it mixed up.
That's Lunata for that strat. Strat setup anyway.
Okay, this is one of my favorite screens in the level. It's so wacky.
Yeah, this is, I call this room the Super Smash Bros. Room, because this last room here, you feel like you're like in the middle of a Super Smash Bros. Room.
And it's cool.
It's extremely chaotic if you don't have like a plan. Which
I do have a plan, but I messed it up.
Also, even better with this trail of keys following you so that you can't see anything on the screen.
And this is the infamous Secret Golf room. This is another just incredible room. Some of like my favorite design map here, where you have to guide this Seeker around this room and bop it to activate these touch switches. Such a fun, cool idea for a room.
And then that demo Spirialis did saves a little bit of time with the Seeker and starting to re-navigate towards me a little bit more optimally.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on flag 1, so everybody get ready for the end of 9D.
Spirialis, that one was a +2, an intentional +2, I have to say. You climbed up the wall slowly into that spinner. I have to call you out for that one.
So this route, this
yeah, for trying to give more money to charity.
Yeah. Flag 2 is another infamous blocker. This room is absolutely just brutally hard, and it's so long that a lot of the hardest stuff, unusual for most of Monika's design, a lot of the hardest stuff in this room happens later, whereas usually she likes to front load a lot of the difficulty. But there's one particular section in the middle of this room that's really difficult to figure out, and it's just super long. And then the end, it has a little bit of like a scare check, sort of, where it's not hard to do, but when you have the pressure of these kind of rooms sitting on your shoulders, it's very easy to screw yourself over. Now, because Spirialis has double dash inventory here, this section is a little easier. Yeah, so right here you have to do a Dream Hyper at the end, and it's a long Dream block, and you have plenty of time to think about it. And then those are the two demos right there that a lot of people say, oh, these are required demos. Right here in this first room, Spirialis is skipping it, but there's a secret route to take in that room that avoids the demo.
Oh my god, spoilers.
And
Spirialis
didn't beat the bird.
Lost the bird race.
He didn't beat the bird, that's so sad.
You can get to that
Hashtag
Valinor
beat the
before the
bird.
bird does.
Alright, so now we're
It's
entering
in the watch.
Puzzle Hub, which is, again, just incredible. Casually, this is extremely challenging puzzle to solve. And of course, having the double dash inventory allows you to skip significant portion of the puzzle. But you do actually get double dash inventory in the process of solving the puzzle here. It just
So this is the last part where it actually makes a difference, basically, right?
yeah, pretty much, and it essentially just skips like the first half of the puzzle, because the first half is all about getting that double dash inventory, and you don't have to do that if you already have it. So Spirialis is going to do some interesting room routing here with some intentional deaths to collect the keys, and these are the last of the keys that we're going to need for, well, I guess we need what? One more? Two more?
2 more. Well, 2 more after next. There's 1 key left in the sub that we're about to get.
So, you're gonna see some really interesting stuff that's gonna go really fast. It's gonna be really difficult to understand. But right here, Spirialis is gonna have to kill himself when he gets the key, because if he doesn't kill himself, it's gonna take him to the top right of the room, and he's gonna have to leave and come back down. Through that secret entrance again, so killing yourself there saves you having to go back around. And also,
this is as long as the keychain is going to get, by the way. So enjoy it while it lasts.
That's a good point. Another thing that I know Spirialis and I agree on is that the old Puzzle Hub had like a really crazy strategy for getting through it in the speedrun. And now with the new inventory skip, it's a lot easier, which is probably for everyone's benefit, but I think Spirialis and I both really enjoyed. Oh, here we go.
So this is a really precise skip where we're attempting to get
There you go.
there we go. Yeah, we're trying to hit that button while only consuming one key. And it's very easy to accidentally lose a key and then just be stuck there.
Yeah, you can't get the Moonberry anymore if you mess that up. So he would have to debug himself a key.
Free keys. Because if I accidentally opened that last door, there'd be no way to do that skip anymore. So I would just need to open all 3 other doors there and just debug myself 3 keys. Luckily,
that is why we have...
Actually has not happened to me in a run yet.
Wow. Impressive.
So that is,
100%
correct me if I'm wrong, Spirialis, that's like a reverse bubble super off that platform, even though you
Right.
don't come
And
to
then-
the platform.
The trick is that before that, I need to corner correct onto the ledge so that I get high rebound in the first place.
Yeah. Very cursed. And again, you have unexpected extra key, or no, you had 2 keys in practice, right?
No, this is expected. This is
Okay.
what I intend to have here.
But last time you had 2, right?
Yeah, the first.
I still don't know
one of
where
the
you
first
got
2.
that extra key.
I do. In the hub number 3, I got 1 key that I don't normally get for this route.
Yeah, so now we're into the Moonberry section of the map. Obviously, casually, probably not going to see this unless you are going to Moonberry casually, which would be, if you didn't know where all the keys were, it might be pretty hard to do.
And then the
this is
music changes.
Yeah, this is a really, really interesting section of the map. You're actually going to see some rooms that you might recognize if you played Celeste.
This is 1B, first room of it.
Yeah, so she basically like remixed Celeste rooms, changing the art, changing some of the mechanics that are used. Like I think that room there was chapter 4. This is a chapter 3 room with a seeker.
To me,
Something
it almost
Spec Circuit make, I
seems
think.
like... To me, it almost seems like another take on like a different way that she could have done more challenging versions of the existing levels, like basically 1D through 8D.
Yeah, it's really cool because a lot of the rooms are the gameplay, the art, and the map are like all distinct from each other. So there will be like chapter 4 art with chapter 5 mechanics from a chapter 3 map. It's very cool, and a lot of times you're going through the rooms in directions that you wouldn't normally go. Like earlier, he was going up a pit that you would normally fall down in chapter 6. Yeah, it does remind me of the Rando as well. So that's a good point.
Do we have a quick second here to get in some donations?
Absolutely.
All right. Here's we do have a $2 donation train going on. Thank you, Acco. We have Cactus who gives
go.
+2, and their comment is +2. Bree12am who gives $2 and also is a +2 comment. An anonymous donator who just says nya. And Savadra who donated $10 and says true love comes from the +2s we made along the way. Team Bo.
I really want to know if there are any antis in chat, like people who are not +2ers. I want to see some -2s. Donate with -2 if you're against the +2 gang. But yeah, thank you for those, dude.
Don't donate -$2 though. That'd be bad.
Yeah, still donate. Just put -2 in the donation.
Exactly, you get me. Are we going down through a 7B level? Is that what this is?
That's
Yeah. And we're going through more of 7B.
Is this the entirety of 7B 1500?
I don't know if it's the entirety, but it is a few rooms.
I think it might be. I'm not familiar enough with 7B to say for sure.
So 7B, each checkpoint has 4 rooms. So this is the third
This is
room of
number
7B.
three, and this is
This
number
is the
four.
entirety
Yeah.
of 7B, 1500 meters backwards. Wow. I love it.
It doesn't
thought
stop
that-
there.
I thought that the room right before this was the chapter 3 seaside, but maybe I'm crazy.
And then we go through the same room forward.
Let's go. Oh, with 1 dash. I did not realize that.
And the 8B. And this music is written by Torrance, I believe.
Yeah, that's correct. Surprise! No dream block. That was a nice skip there to prevent having to get the double dash.
Yeah, and that was not the end of a screen.
Yeah. And now we get into some really interesting stuff.
Yeah. Now for some stuff that is not from vanilla, or remixed from vanilla.
Shoutouts to 4A and Super Mario.
Super Mario Brothers 3, is it? That has that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct.
Hit some random triggers to get
So we got to get
weird
these
stuff on the screen.
these nice red patterns on the screen. Very important.
Yeah,
There's
shout
a
out to
red
the
berry in
decals.
Shoutouts to the red berry. We got all red berries. Everybody cheer for
That's
all
the
red
summer of
berries.
Arb.
Yeah, you can clap for that. Also, do not panic about the random black foreground stuff. That is just like that.
But it's actually just your eyes because none of that stuff was over there. The red
Oh,
stuff.
my bad.
Grab that one, man.
Whoa.
There we go. Very important for lineups.
Oh yeah, guys, I'm smoking CT.
Every mechanic that's in Vanilla Celeste. As in, like, every entity? Or... I mean, if it's every entity, then yes. I think so.
This map... Are you asking if this map has every entity in it?
Yeah.
It does not have Theo.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Well, that's
No, isn't it
not
in-
true.
It's in the golden checkpoint, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, did you take it out? Oh.
That's sad.
Yeah. Also, we kind of glossed over it, but shout out to the really weird strat Spirialis used to skip the entire room.
But yeah.
by sticking to
I
the
got
top of
this
the
skip
screen.
over we're talking about.
And then now we're
Also,
into the maze. So
What are you talking about? We're just in this room.
Yeah, we're just in 7A.
that's a good.
Yeah, we're in this room in 7A, and hopefully we'll be able to make it out of this room in 7A.
We're still in this room in 7A.
Now we have a permanent second dash, just like in 7A.
Why do you say that like it was sarcastic? But that's actually true. Why are you gaslighting me into thinking there's not 2 dashes in 7A?
I'm just telling you the truth.
And then we have that floating door. Very important.
So anyway, after that we get into this room in 7A.
And we escape. The room in 7A that we only played once.
I think we just got a little turned around.
It is very helpful.
And this is everybody's favorite room from Vanilla Celeste.
Of course.
And I mean, the
There it is.
Moonberry is really the red berry that we get along the way, honestly.
There wasn't a cut there or anything. That the level just does that.
Yeah. But for an
Don't,
Arb run, you do in fact have to get the Moonberry
Don't
to
be
escape.
try.
So the
Thank
funny
you.
thing about that is that path was implemented so that you don't have to save and quit, correct? But now you're allowed to
right.
save and quit, right?
You had to return the map. Is the thing.
Oh.
And that's
right,
still
right,
not
right.
allowed in the speedrun.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that was there in the original version of the map as well, but yeah.
Not in the original release of old 9D though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was added because it was not leaderboard legal. Like, it was not runnable.
I see. Yeah, so now we get into sort of like a, now that we're past Puzzle Hub and Moonberry, this is kind of like the final race to the end. These rooms are all brand new compared to the original version of 90. And there's a lot of emphasis on speed strats in a lot of these rooms. So you'll see Spirialis doing a lot of things that were not intended, but not part of the casual strat, but are intended.
Yeah, so as I was saying earlier, I mean, it's super reminiscent of Recon. One of my favorite checkpoints in Celeste, period, because of how free it feels. Like, you know, after this long, arduous chapter, you just get to go fast, go forward, and I think she did a really good job of nailing that feel in a more challenging form.
I will say that while I think that all of the new rooms are a great addition to the map, I do kind of miss some of the rooms that got cut. there were some really cool rooms. But I think that on the whole, it was the right move.
Don't be sad that it's over. Just be happy it happened.
There were some really good rooms that got cut, but the new version was also fantastic.
Do we have
We
some
tried
time?
my- Sorry, go ahead.
Do we have some time for donations eventually?
You know, I was just about to ask if we had any donations. I would love to hear from you, Jade.
Yeah, we actually do have donations. First off, we have a $2 pledge from Court, who says, I have to pledge my allegiance to Team Bow. Also, it was a joy to meet you, Spirialis, and hope to hang out again. Thanks for this amazing run, Akko and Theta. Y'all are cool too. +2. We
Great
also
meeting you too.
we also have $10 from Chuckles, who says, you had me at French axolotl. And we have a $25 donation from Noah, who, I might mispronounce this, but it says here, Spirialis, I think, if I'm not reading that wrong.
Wait, I know which Noah that is. Hi, Noah.
All right.
Pretty sure Spirialis is the correct pronunciation. Spirialis.
Chat, I would love to see more donations. I would love to see more donations with alternative spellings of Spirialis so that we can force Jade to say them. Or just type them in chat if you don't have the money to spend. Love having you all here.
Yeah, so this is another section of the map where there are a lot of strats to carry speed from room to room, where you get basically one chance to do it right with the speed, and then otherwise you can't do it that way anymore. Including a room coming up where you get to use a bird that wouldn't otherwise be there to help you. I don't remember exactly what happens. Was this part of the map done with?
We got a few rooms until that.
Okay. I'm old, so I ran old 90. You know.
I like Jax coming in with the security.
This is a very cool room. The fact that you get there in time and that block is just still there is just so cool.
I think one of my favorite Spirialis misspellings is Aprilis. who is a character in Yeast 9, a game that's coming up later today. And
Very
if you donate
true.
for that French axolotl incentive, you'll get to see that in the game with a Prellis in it. You know.
Thank you, Akko.
That was sick. No, come on.
Bird.
Yeah, bird.
So you're making this look very easy, but we have some people asking in chat, how hard is 9D if you were to play it casually?
Well, like I said earlier on, the first time I beat the version of 90, it took me over 100 hours. And it was like some outrageous number of deaths, like 13,000 or something, I don't remember.
It has been nerfed substantially since then, though.
It's been nerfed, but I mean, it's still...
It's still the longest map made for Celeste, and it is still a very high difficulty throughout.
Oh.
So just be aware of that going in.
Right. It's still a pretty significant step up from the rest of the map pack. But if you were to compare it to SJ, I would say that most of it is probably like, let's say, comparable to expert maps.
I mean, well, the problem is that it's not just about execution. It's also about like figuring the rooms out, which is part of what
Right.
makes her level design uniquely hard. Is that she's very, very good at designing routing, stamina, and there's a third word I was looking for. But anyway, puzzles that you don't see a lot in Celeste gameplay. And that's part of what makes the map so hard. Is that you'll enter a room and you'll just think like, how is this room even possible?
I want to
figuring
quickly
it out.
note. I wanted to quickly note about this room. You'll see that Spirialis's neutral drops of jellies are really clean there, and that is yet another benefit of invert grab for a map like this. But Spirialis, do you remember by any chance, like, roughly how many hours or like what your death count was at for your casual clear?
Old 90?
Sure.
It was about 60 hours. I don't remember my death count, so.
I should say that my time is pretty high, and part of the reason for that is because the very first mod I ever played in Celeste was the D-side.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, when I started playing the D-sides, I didn't even know that a lot of the tech that you use in this map even existed. Like ultras and things like that. I didn't know what those were. In fact, I don't even think I knew that you could do big bounces off of bumpers when I played 6D until the rooms that required it. So
That's wild. Yeah, I wanted to say, like, giving Spirialis credit, this is a very hard level, and he's making it look so much easier than it is. But I also want to say at the same time, I think Monika believes in the whole Celeste design philosophy of like the game is intended for you to beat it, and so if you want to play this level, you can do it. I believe in you.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely still to this day for me, it's the most satisfying. Like beating this map felt like such an accomplishment, especially because of its length, but also because of the pacing and just the style of it and the way it ends and all of that. I haven't had that feeling with any other thing that I've played in Celeste like I did with beating this map. And also, for people who find a lot of the really hard Celeste custom content that's out these days, where there's a lot of like really difficult speed tech, if you're like me and you're not good at that stuff, this is a great hard map. It's not really focused around speed tech, it's more so focused around
Not me to hit that button.
traditional like level design puzzle, rather than like really hard like input density.
We're getting pretty close to the end here. I'm not entirely sure exactly the number of rooms left until we reach the room.
I mean, we still have the second half of this checkpoint. It's coming up very soon.
Yeah, and like just to spend some more time gushing about how much I love this map. I am not the kind of person who likes to speedrun. I find speedrunning, because I'm a very anxious person, I find speedrunning to be like very stressful, and this map was the first thing that made me want to speedrun anything in Celeste. And I say speedrunning with an asterisk because, unlike Spirialis, I really didn't know what I was doing like half the time that I was playing the map. I just focused on not dying, and luckily with this map it's not as optimized as any percent vanilla Celeste is, so if you want to get a great time for this map, you can. You just have to play it a lot and build that muscle memory, and then you can, like, I'm not a great speedrunner, and I had the world record on 90, so it's definitely something that is achievable for people who want to go after it. And we would love to have more people on the leaderboard, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't need to be like the world record holder to be on a leaderboard, you know?
Right.
Like, the run itself is the accomplishment. By the way, while we were saying all this, we are in a dashless section with heavy right wind, which is some call it Chrome Dinosaur Game, some call it Geometry Dash. I just call it entertaining to watch. That's a +2.
I'm just gonna call it Binary Dash because that's another game games.
Binary Dash? Shoutouts to Star Garden Games.
It's a shameless plug.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anyone who works at Star Garden Games.
That's true.
We got some time here while Spirialis is running to the right.
Sure.
All right. Just a reminder to everyone that the reason we are here today for Archiethon is to donate to the Trans Empowerment Project. Trans Empowerment Project is a non-profit organization, and if you want to learn more, you can do !TEP in chat. And if you're feeling ready, like you want to donate, you can do !donate to find the donation link as well.
Thank you so much for that, Jane.
So these rooms, super fun to play, and it's also just kind of like the last hurrah before you get to the end. And the only thing that's really scary about them is that they're very long, and dying near the end of them costs a lot of time.
The interesting thing here is that, one thing I should mention first is that each bunny hop does give you a bit of speed and basically moves you farther forward. But in some of these cycle-based rooms, you can only do a certain number of bunny hops before you're actually too far forward to make a cycle. And in the room before this one, I did it a couple times. I guess forgot how many jumps I was supposed to be doing, and did one too many sometimes.
It's all good. It's all good. +2.
Yeah. Try to save a frame, end up losing, 30 seconds. It's fine.
Any Super Meat Boy Forever fans in chat? Just curious.
I know that it didn't like do that well review wise, and I think that was because people were expecting a Super Meat Boy game, and it isn't really a Super Meat Boy game. But I think that game is really fun.
I think that's another name that I would throw out there for this section.
One of the things that made me super happy to see these last couple of rooms here is the pillars motif that was in the original version of the map. I don't necessarily know what. Oh, well, here we are. This is like the finale. The first like 30-40 seconds of this room is probably like the most fun gameplay in Celeste, in my opinion. The design that went into just like the very beginning of this room, I mean the whole room is great, but the very beginning of this room, like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. The rest of the room is a lot looser, I think just purely out of a decision to make it easier because of the obvious punishing nature of it. But once we get past the first minute or so of this room, we are going to be getting into the point where
Please
these are
take
the
your
most
being away.
impactful +2s.
Here comes the jelly. There he is, just in time.
Yeah, the nature we're referring to is the length. The screen is incredibly long.
It's what, like 4.5 minutes, right?
With the stress I'm doing, it should be about 4 minutes before the next checkpoint.
Yeah. So 4 minutes of extremely difficult gameplay where there is not a single checkpoint. So
It's just incredible that Spirialis is saying that to us while doing the room. If y'all are not impressed by this man right now, I don't know what you're even doing here.
Oh, by the way, this jellyfish's name is Bruno.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, when I used to run this map, by the time I got to this room, I was so stressed out that I would just mute my mic and focus because I just it stressed me out so bad playing this room.
That close.
I'm feeling stressed just watching. Like my heart rate. I wish I had a heart rate monitor that I could put on stream right now.
Yeah, I'm not like a sweaty palms kind of guy, but this room definitely brings the palm sweat.
All right, and here is why Bruno has a name.
Yeah, so Spirialis is doing a very cursed pause buffer strat there to save Bruno. Because
It's a relatively recently discovered tech. It is relatively recently discovered, right? I'm not lying by that. But basically, the spring.
It's been a while now, but relatively speaking, absolutely.
Yeah. The spring on the side of the moon block gets pushed into you as the moon block resets, and that gives you an extra boost, correct?
You have to do an extra jump input when you do it to get basically a reverse corner boost after the spring launch.
Paco asking Spirialis questions during this.
Look, Theta, you could have answered.
Spirialis, could you list all of the states in the United States in order alphabetically?
I cannot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But doing that allows you to leave Bruno there and use that boost to bridge the gap, and then you can come back and recover him to do the rest of this room a little more safely.
Yeah, and not just safely, but also a lot faster. Like, having the jelly makes the whole back section of this, like, so much quicker.
We have not hit a checkpoint yet, by the way, to be clear.
That's correct. And we're not even close. So all of these fake hearts, they give you your dash back. The expected mechanic you're supposed to do there with no jelly is to bounce off of those hearts to collect dashes, and it's very scary.
Damn, you're not doing that one strat or that other strat?
Doing that one
Oh,
instead.
we get that one. Okay.
So that used to be the end of the map right there, that heart, in the old version of the map. And now we have this section. So again, still hasn't hit a checkpoint.
I got so baited there, but also I believe the strat that Spirialis did there was taking advantage of the camera trigger there, moving the camera down way ahead of Madeline, and unloading the spinners around you, correct?
That's right. Yeah. I should have let Spirialis.
Have we hit a checkpoint yet?
No.
All right.
I'll wait for this cycle.
Yeah, no.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah, and yeah, I'll let you know when we hit a checkpoint. We're not there yet. And remember how I said, we would never.
Sorry for the moment of silence, but this is.
Here we go. Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm sorry that I lied to everyone and said that we would never see this again, because here it is. And again, no checkpoint.
Oh, that one always terrifies me.
And now at the
Nice.
end here, Spirialis is going to have to do some blind platforming, and hopefully he gets through. Okay, we're good. Yeah, so it's actually impossible to die on that part
In the
at
blind
end.
section.
And there was a
but it
screen transition hidden in that pure pink screen.
And we
Yeah.
do now have a checkpoint. But the
Yeah.
interesting thing
We can
about that
breathe.
checkpoint is that the checkpoint is actually before the screen transition, even though, you know, we are in this room now. We are in a different room. It will take you back to the opposite side of the screen transition.
Yeah, it's weird how it's implemented, but it is a checkpoint regardless.
Yeah, so we're finally into basically the credits room of the map, and the gigantic sigh of relief for Spirialis that he's done with the real final room.
Yeah, I would love some claps in chat for doing that room, basically first try past the beginning.
Yeah, that was incredible, especially with Akko quizzing Spirialis rapidly during that.
Yeah, could you explain this complex tech that you're doing in the middle of your final room? Also, get your death counts in, get your guesses. Oh, we're changing it up. We're mixing it up for people. You should get a couple more of those in just to spite Tom's wallet.
So, coming up here, we get to the end. The timer stops, but there's actually one more room after. Also, this is just such a gorgeous part of the map. Like, there's one part in particular coming up that I just think is like absolutely beautiful.
So the in-game timer will stop when we touch battle line coming up, but we can keep the timer running until we grab the heart at the end of the level.
By the way, this is a massive PvP base.
Yes, I mean, sub 2 Moonberry in general is absolutely ridiculous. But
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to say it while the run was happening because I feel like that would simply make you more nervous. But you were on a crazy pace the entire time. I was like, wait a minute.
What was your previous PB? Was it 159?
Yeah, it was like 159.40 or something.
That's right. Yeah, we were super close. I remember it happened in practice, right? So, yeah, I mean, this is huge. This is like what, 7 minutes roughly, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this run was just super clean up until, I want to say, maybe 2K. Oh, it is time.
There we go.
Or not
One
time
more.
for the run, but time for in-game time.
Yes.
One more room, and
GG. Incredible PB.
this
Again.
is my favorite room coming up.
And for some reason, there is an extra room after
Wait,
in-game
hold on.
time stops.
Before you do this, surely you want to give chat one final +2.
Oh my god, so fast!
You're so good.
Holy
No, you couldn't. You
Alright.
just couldn't let it happen, huh?
That's
Wow.
so complicated and hard, and you just like nailed it.
To be clear, yeah, that is a crazy precise setup. I think that's sub-pixel precise in multiple ways, right?
I mean, the way it's set up, I get.
Just say yes.
Yes,
It is. It is.
Yes.
It's true. Come on, let me gas you up.
Yeah, absolutely. That was quadruple frame perfect or something.
Yeah, it was actually based on his inputs in the first room of the map.
All right, so what are the death count predictions? Oh, I guess I should
It's
move
gotta
on to the
be-
actual end card.
I think it's probably like 315 is my guess.
It's interesting because I feel like there were a lot of pretty significant death sections, but it was also very fast, you know? So I'm not sure if that's just because your deaths were fast or if there were fewer deaths.
Yeah,
So-
almost all of Spirialis' deaths were early. I think he had deaths, a good number of deaths, but they were all like in good spots for the most part. So
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
gonna go
to
with-
put this into perspective, there is no leaderboard for Moonberry, but my PB in any percent leaderboard is a 144, and I believe Moonberry adds roughly 12 to 13 minutes. So this would have been a sub 140 if I had not gotten Moonberry, which is insane.
Yeah,
Shout
so
outs
thanks
to,
to all those people
Talia.
who donated for Moonberry to prevent that from happening.
I'm really happy that I got to show that off.
No. It's the butterfly effect. If Spirialis hadn't gotten the Moonberry, none of this would have ever happened.
Yeah, this was directly powered by money, by donations.
By money. Powered by money. That is my life motto. All right, I'm gonna go with 286 for the deaths.
We got 2 berries out of 1. Oh my god.
249.
Incredible.
Wow.
That's incredible.
That's remarkably low.
Yeah, I think my death PB on the old version of the map was like 330 or something. So yeah, I mean that's actually absolutely absurd.
Yeah, well, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for the run. Congratulations on the PB and for, only 249 deaths on that map. Yeah. Do you have anyone you want to shout out quick before the end of here?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out Echo and the rest of the Archiethon team because I know just how much work they've been putting in. Like sometimes, like even in preparation for this run, I'd occasionally like do a run on stream and ask Echo if he wants to watch in preparation for commentating, and he's just always busy with preparing for this event. So shout outs to everyone putting on the stream.
Yeah, thank you. I want to piggyback off of that. Just to quickly say, yeah, it's been a crazy ride coming up to this event. Want to quickly, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Flying Ludicolo and Super Zuper, they are my 2 biggest shout outs I could ever give. They did so much for this event, and if you're gonna name me, I gotta name them too.
Spirialis, I think you should load up a map really quick and just die one more time. Load up the map and get 250. You need to make it a clean 250.
Give chat the +2 that they want.
I don't know if it works that way.
I beg you.
Chat will have to donate the extra $2 themselves.
All right, I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
All right. Thank you for the run.